Good morning, students. We read the last paragraph on page 20 from the lesson, The Necklace. The story has come to the middle part of the lesson, and where we have seen the life of a middle class family of a lady get marrying a beautiful girl, get married to a working as a minor official in this thing, and her aspirations or her dreams are very high. She felt that she should have got married to an aristocrat family, and but now then she has this, so the only moment which has been described where she is very high on her mood, in her mood, is when she goes to attend a party and she dances to because she is excited about the dress and about her beauty and the necklace and so all that, and dances, enjoys her the few moments. But these few moments of happiness are short-lived. When they come home at about the morning after the good time, they learn that Matilde has lost the necklace. The borrowed necklace has been lost, and now they are in a shock state. Let us start with from page 10 and shift over to page 21. The other aspects of the workshop will finish up when we finish up lesson number 1, part 1 and part 2. Together we'll take up further this thing. He stood up, I'm on page 20 last, Mr. Loisel, he stood up distraught, very worried. Meaning is what? Very much worried. What? How? That's impossible. What? How? That's impossible. So he couldn't believe in her words that she has lost the necklace. Let us go to page 22 to start with the part 2 of the lesson, the necklace. They looked in the folds of her dress, in the folds of her cloak, in her pockets, everywhere, but they could not find it. So desperately, as we lose something, suppose we desperately try to search the things around where it is, where we last held that thing, and where it could be, all the possibilities we try to look into it. The same way they were so frantically searching but they searched in the folds of her dress, some folds. She checked up in the folds of her dress, in the folds of her cloak. Cloak is some sort of an overcoat worn over the dress. Cloak, they have given it the meaning over here, a garment worn over the other clothes. It has no sleeves and fastens at the neck. It fastens is closed at the neck. So there also they saw in her pockets everywhere, but they could not find it. Are you sure you still had it when you left the hall? He asked. They are trying to figure out where they must have lost this thing. So she asked, Mr. Loisel asked Matilda that when did you last see it? Are you sure you had it on it when you left the hall? Yes, I touched it in the hall at the ministry. But if you had lost all the possibilities they are trying to look at, but if you had lost it in the street, we would have heard it fall. It must be in the cab. So it has not fallen on the road. They are working on the different possibilities. It must not have, if it would have fallen on the road, they would have heard the noise and they were collected. But What they feel, it must have felt left in, they must have lost it in the cab, in the taxi. Yes, that's probably it. She said, yes. Did you take his number? Did you take the taxi number? No. They stared at each other, stunned, shocked. Stare, to look at somebody, to look for some few seconds or for a minute continuously without any expression, that is called stare. So they stared at each other, stunned, shocked, surprised. At last, Loisel put his clothes on again. I'm going back, he said. Got himself again put on the dress, and he says, I'll go back and see. Over the whole route we walk and see if I can find it. Over the whole route. Route means the road from where they came. The passage or the road which they followed when they come. The whole road they went back to, maybe they will be able to find it out. He left. She remained in her ball dress all night, her mind blank. Her husband returned at about 7 o'clock in the morning. He had found nothing. So her husband returned at about 7 o'clock. He had found nothing. He went to the police, to the newspaper to offer a reward. He went to make a complaint to the police, lost property, and in the newspaper to insert an ad in the to give, and some reward will be given to person who finds it. A reward to the to offer a reward to the cab companies, even to the cab companies, the union, the companies who were associated with the union or the group of this. There also he gave an information that they will be rewarded. The tiniest glimmer of hope led him. She waited all day in despair at this frightful disaster. She waited all day in despair at this frightful disaster. Disaster, tragedy, or unfaithful event, or an unlucky event, that is called as disaster. Untimely disaster, untimely event which puts the person in a loss of property, time and money, what that is called as a disaster. So despair at this frightful disaster. Loisel returned in the evening, a hollow, pale figure. He had found nothing. Now, there is a question over there. What is implied in a hollow, pale figure? Loisel returned in the evening, a hollow, pale figure. What does it mean? It means a person looking very tired, sleepy, hungry, and weak. So he was looking pale with all the tension and sleepy because the whole night they had been looking out for the necklace after they came back, and hungry and weak. Loisel returned the evening, a hollow, pale figure. he had found nothing. You must write to your friend, he said. Tell her you have broken the clasp of her necklace and that you are having it mended. It will give some time us to look some more. So she suggested that she should write a letter, write and keep her friend informed that the hook where they lock the necklace, the hook, okay, the which is their writer is calling it a clasp of her neck, and that has broken. So she will get it repaired and may take some time. So she will return the necklace at the earliest. That is what he wanted to keep the ask her to keep the friend informed about it. She wrote as he dictated. At the end of 1 week, they had lost all hope. So they waited for 1 week, and after 1 week, they lost all hope of getting back the necklace. And Loisel, who suddenly looked aged, declared, we must consider how to replace the jewel. Now, with all the tension, worry of losing a necklace, that also of a friend, borrowed necklace, now he suddenly was looking very aged, old. Aged means old. We must consider how to replace the jewel. Now we must, hopes have been given, no those chances of getting the necklace back. So we must start thinking how we are going to give a new one, replace the jewel. And so they went from jeweler to jeweler looking for a necklace like the other one and consulting their memories, both sick with grief and anguish. The very nicely they have described the state of mind of the Loisel and Matilda. What they went from 1 week after losing, they went from jeweler to jeweler to give the exact design of this thing, looking for a necklace like the other one, the same if they could find out the same sort of type of a necklace, consulting their memories. Consulting means recollecting their memories, whether it was the same one, if they could find some, whether it was the same one which whether they have lost. So it's kind of consulting their memories, and the memories which were both sick with grief and anguish. Grief, sadness, and anguish. Anguish means what? Severe pain or distress. Helplessness. You can here understand the helplessness which was going on in their minds. In a shop at the Palais Royal, the name of the shop at the area where they are sitting, at the Palais Royal, they found a string of diamonds which seemed to be exactly what they were looking for. A string of diamonds which they thought was similar to the one which they had lost. And it was worth 40,000 francs. So it costed 40,000 francs. The French currency. They could have it for 36,000. So the shopkeeper offered them that instead of paying 40,000 francs, they could settle it with 36,000 francs. So they begged the jeweler not to sell it for 3 days. So they requested the shopkeeper to keep it aside and wait for them. For after 3 days, they'll come and give their decision to keep it aside and not to sell it for 3 days. And they made an arrangement that he would take it back for 34,000 francs if the other necklace was found before the end of February. So this decided it kept a date. A date was by the end of February. If they found it, they were ready to buy from the shopkeeper, from the jeweler shop for 36,000. And if they found the necklace, the one which they had lost, they will return this back to him and he can take it back for 34,000. Pay them 34, 2,000. He still has made a profit of 2,000 in few days. With that sort of a consideration, what was the arrangement with the jeweler? Do you think it was fair? Now they start collecting the money. Loisel had 18,000 francs which his father had left him. He would borrow the rest. Loisel had 18,000 francs which his father had left for him after his death, when he had died. So he had 18,000 francs with him. The rest he would have to take a loan. So he would have to take a loan of 18,000 francs. And he did borrow. He gave notes, made ruinous agreements, dealt with every type of moneylender. Then he went to get the new necklace and laid down on the jeweler's counter 36,000 francs. So he had 18,000 francs and he had to borrow 18,000. For that purpose, he had to pass through a lot of difficulties. He gave notes. What's the meaning of notes? In brief, it is in the commercial language, it is called as promissory notes. Promissory notes. Promissory means to give a promise that I will return this money on so and so day after 2 months or 1 month, whatever the period is set. That is called notes. And promissory notes and dealt with, gave notes, made ruinous agreement. Ruinous means some exuberant interest he was high rate of interest he was ready to pay, which would result in disaster. Ruinous, the meaning is given over here, leading to a heavy loss because he had to borrow money at any thing. So he made ruinous agreement with the moneylender. At a very high rate he would take, rate of interest he would take, that is called ruinous, which is ruinous means what? Leading to a heavy loss. Dealt with every type of moneylender. So with all the difficulties, he collected the money. Then he went to get the new necklace and laid down on the jeweler's counter 36,000 francs. He laid on the counter the 36,000 francs he had collected to get the new necklace. We'll end the day over here. Come back to carry on further. Thank you.